So here is how I went from reading 1 book in 4 weeks to now reading 10 books in 4 weeks. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Ify Okoye here, a millennial mom of 3 beautiful kids, a digital content creator, and a lover of the good life. So in this video, we are doing a book haul. Yes, I am doing a book haul for you guys. I recently purchased some items on Amazon and they just arrived. Guys, it's a lot of books, so get ready. So one of the reasons why I decided to pick up reading in 2024 is because I used to be a reader. I used to be an avid reader. So when I had kids, or rather when motherhood happened, I sort of lost my touch. I still would buy books. Like in a year, I would buy up to like 10 books and end up not reading them. So every time I travel, I would always visit a bookstore because I'm such a lover of the bookstore. I would visit the bookstore and I would buy books and I'll come back and I wouldn't read them. So when I was making plans and highlighting my goals for the year, I told myself I was going to read more, so that's what I started doing. Imagine the whole of last year, I was only able to read just 5 books. 5 books in 365 days, which was very poor in my opinion. But towards the end of last year, I got out of my reading slump and I started reading again. So I'm going to share with you why I started reading again and why I chose to delve into more books this 2024. My number 1 reason or goal for me reading this year was to become an avid reader again. I used to read a lot of books. I loved buying books. Books were part of me at every given moment. I remember back when I traveled to give birth to my daughter, I would buy books. I was always buying books. My library started getting really clustered with books that I haven't read. So I was like, you know what? I need to start reading again. In December, I was invited for this event organized by Chimamanda Adichie. She said something that stuck with me. And you know, everybody was giving excuses why they don't read anymore. And she was like, the Nigerian society, like, we are not reading. And that's why our kids are not reading. So I needed to be a leader and an example to my children so that they would see me and they would try to emulate, you know, me reading, not just reading their school books. I wanted them to read novels. I wanted them to experience what it feels like holding a book and getting transported into a different world. I wanted them to have that experience all the time. Also, another reason why I started reading this 2024 was I needed something to help reduce my screen time. Guys, I was literally always on my phone, pressing my phone when I'm not supposed to be pressing my phone. I needed something to distract me. And you know, social media has this power where it just engulfs you, and before you realize 1 hour has gone by and you're still scrolling. And then from Instagram, it doesn't end there. From Instagram, you're jumping on YouTube. From YouTube, you're jumping to TikTok. It's just an unending cycle, and I needed that to stop. When I checked my screen time last year, I did not like it. So I needed something to distract me, and reading was the only option I knew would distract me from being on my phone all the time. Also, before going to bed, these days I would love to grab a book rather than my phone. It's a better way for me to relax. Social media is just filled with a lot of negative news and stuff that can affect your mood before bedtime. In fact, from 9:30, I don't like picking up my phones except I want to maybe update on my story. So when I'm done taking a shower, I would relax with a book. At least do like 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes before bed. These days I find myself doing 2 hours before bed. So most times I would start my evening rituals on time so that I can have enough time to get lost in a book. We all know that reading would increase your intelligence and to also, you know, help with brain power. And you know, I'm not just reading for fun, you get. I'm also learning new words every day. I'm being exposed to words that I would normally not use in my vocabulary every day. And you know, this feeling of being transported to a different world is such a beautiful feeling. And you can only achieve this feeling by reading a book. And see, it's not just with any book. It has to be a really, really good book. Anyways, now it's time for me to show you the books that I just recently ordered. I want to make a shout out to my friend Elaine. She's been the one holding it down for me. She's been the one, you know, encouraging me to read more. She reads, guys, she reads like over 30 books in a month. No joke. And she's been very helpful with my reading journey. So before I go into the books that I just ordered, I need to tell you that I read 10 books in the whole of January. Yes, I cannot believe I read 10 books in January. Like, it's mind-blowing. I did not know how I did that, but yes, I achieved that. I was able to read 10 books this month, and these are the books that I read. I did 4 audiobooks and I did 6 physical books. So I started this book and I did not finish this book. So without further ado, I'm going to show you guys the books that just arrived, and I feel like these books will be so much fun to read because, one, they have been rated and reviewed by renowned readers around the world, and they ranked high up on top of the books to read or recommended books for last year, and I think 2022 as well. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you guys to my new books. Guys, I went ham on this book haul. Okay, this is the first book I think I was so eager to read. This is a fantasy it's a fantasy romance book. Yes, it's a fantasy book. This is like my first introduction to fantasy books. I read a lot of fiction books, and my favorite genre is romance. I am a historical romance girl, enemies to lovers girl, contemporary romance girl, your rom-com girl, billionaire romance girl, fake dating girl, all the interesting romance, dark romance. I read all that, but this is my first time delving into fantasy romance, and I'm very excited. And this, I think, is like the most talked about books on Book Talk and Bookstagram, so I needed to find out what was going on here. And my very sweet and amazing friend Elaine, who has been helping me and guiding me towards the books I should buy and read, recommended this book. And when I went into Goodreads, which is an app that guides you about books, tells you reviews about all the most sought out books around the world. People that have accounts on Goodreads, they read books and review it up on there. So Goodreads has actually been an amazing app and tool for picking and selecting these books. Anyway, so Sarah J. Maas is a renowned author. She just even released one of her books, The Part 3 of Crescent City, and the whole internet is going crazy. But Sarah J. Maas, she's an amazing author from everything I've learned about her, and I cannot wait to actually experience these books, guys. Still on Sarah J. Maas, you cannot read that book and not read this one. So everyone says read Akota. That series is called Akota. Everyone says read Akota first, and then you enter Throne of Glass. So this is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas as well. Book is heavy. It has 8 books in them, as you can see. Yes, and those are the ones from Sarah J. Maas. Those are fantasy romance books. This is a billionaire romance. Yeah, this is billionaire romance, and it's a trilogy, 3 in 1. Dirty, Filthy, Rich Men. This is a trilogy by Laurelyn Page. Laurelyn Page is an amazing writer. One of the audiobooks I read last month was written by this author, and I think she's amazing with her use of words and characters. Another one, this is my introduction to, I think, reverse harem novels. Crazy. Yes, but I decided to try this trilogy. It's one of the most recommended trilogy, reverse harem trilogy. Yeah, written by Kate Stewart. One of the most recommended and talked about books on Kindle, on Amazon, in fact around the world last year was this book. It's also a fantasy book, Fourth Wing. I got my hands on it. It has a part 2, Iron Flame. I didn't get Iron Flame because Iron Flame didn't get a lot of great reviews. Okay, so the next book in the series of books that I got is the Twisted series. So I read Twisted Love this January, and this is the remaining books in the Twisted book series: Twisted Lies, Twisted Hate, Twisted Games. Everyone has been raving about the Twisted series, so I needed to get my hands on this one, like physical copies of these books, because the first one, which is Twisted Love, which I read last month, was actually so good. So those are the books that I got this January. I think there are like 21 in number. Also, I'm gonna share with you guys the apps that actually helped me stay on track this January. The first app I'm going to mention is Bookly. Bookly was like a reminder for me because it would remind me to read. Bookly kept track of all the books I was reading, so I would rate them there. I would also like review the books in the app. Bookly would help me set goals. Like I would set goals on the number of pages I want to read in a month. I would set goals on the number of minutes I want to read in a day. I also set goals on the number of books that I want to read in a year. So Bookly is just like your go-to reminder for your books. It's very, very beginner friendly, and you know, the interface, everything about the app is just spot on. And then when I would finish reading it, would tell me, you know, give me a congratulations badge. So yeah, Bookly was really, really helpful in my quest to becoming an avid reader this year. Another app that I'm going to talk about is Goodreads. I think I mentioned it earlier. I will use Goodreads app to scan the barcodes of books. It will give me more insights about the books, and I will know if I should read it or if I shouldn't read it. And if it has more 5-star ratings, then that means it's a good book. I would look at things like this before I go on to buy books. Yeah. Oh my God, I discovered Audible this January, and I must say I am a sucker for audiobooks. I never realized that I would love audiobooks this much. So Audible has been like my go-to app. Like even when I'm exercising, I want to just do my audiobooks. Like I don't even go for my music anymore when I'm exercising. When I'm shopping in the supermarket, like Audible has let me read more because, you know, I'm not straining my eyes to read. All I have to do is just listen. So I realize I have more quiet time during the day, and so I try to slot in times for me to listen to my Audible books. And Audible has been, you know, such a huge game changer for me being able to read more books in a month. So these are the ways I was able to, you know, get in more books this past month, and I hope and pray that I'm able to continue this habit all through the year. This was one goal that I wanted to see come to fruition. You won't believe I actually planned to read 4 books in January and ended up reading 10. Cheers to reading more books this 2024, and thank you guys for tuning in to my unplanned shoots. I actually did not plan to shoot this video, but I was just too excited and decided to turn on my camera, and I hope this helped somebody. So get reading, start reading, buy your books, buy your Kindle, download these apps, and you know, just create the time. You know, we say there's no time. The excuse most of us give is that we don't have the time, but what I realized from my little research is that we actually have enough time on our hands to read a book. If you can't read a physical book, you get an e-reader. If you can't get an e-reader, you get what? Audible for your audiobooks. So find out which one works for you. I also have friends that have tried to inspire to read as well, and a few of them mentioned that Audible was actually their favorite way to read. I have this friend that didn't even like reading at all, and now she's on her 3rd book on Audible in 2 weeks. So you have to find what works for you, and you know, just create time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope it inspired you. Hope it encouraged you to read. Yes, I cannot wait to tell you guys more about my reading journey or share my reading journey on here. The aim is to read over 100 books this year, so help me God. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye for now.